If anybody needs a comfort break, now's the time.
Christina's waiting for the declaration.
Yes. Okay. If we could move on to the STBF meeting. So, good evening, trustee. Welcome to this meeting, an extraordinary meeting of the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund on Monday, the 15th of December. Town Clerk, could I ask whether we've got any apologies for absence received?
We've got Councillor Marie, work commitment, and we've got Councillor Green, personal commitment.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from councillors in respect of the business to be transacted on the agenda. Do we have any? Declare? No. Thank you very much. And then public participation, 20-minute session put aside for the public to make representations at the meeting. Do you have any requests this evening?
No.
Okay, so this is a one item agenda, and this is to discuss the car park lease, the Castle Market car park. The lease itself is due to expire on the 21st of January of next year, and we're being asked as a trustee to reach a decision on the 2 matters contained in the report, and that relates to extending beyond the 21st January, and secondly, specific requirement around disability parking spaces. Town Clerk, would you like to just give a brief summary of the report?
Basically, the property manager has been investigating the car park lease renewal situation. He basically feels that we need time to figure out the long-term sort of plan for the car park. He has got a further report that will be coming to the finance committees, which are on Wednesday, which will lay out the, sort of the options that we could do and put a proposal that we would put to DDC and to independent car parking operators. But in order to have the time to do that, he is asking for this request for an extension to the current DDC lease so that everything can be done in a nice, orderly fashion. There is also this issue of the parking spaces, that disabled parking spaces that have been requested. After this report was received, he had confirmation from DDC that to create the 4 proposed disabled access spaces, it will require the loss, well, we will lose 6 non-disabled spaces, if you see what I mean, because of the size issues. Then the second question is whether or not to decide on this disabled access now, or to also defer that until the renegotiation with the DDC lease. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
So, a couple of observations. The lease itself, the property manager has engaged with DDC regards this, and they are open to an extension for the period suggested. And when I asked about the reason for not bringing this much earlier, simply the amount of assets focus that he's had to spend time on, this was not the top priority. It's an important element because it's one of our main income streams for the toll bridge fund, but that's why we've got it this evening. On the disabled spaces, this cropped up as part of the parking strategy that DDC delivered earlier in the year. When I looked at it myself, I found that parking spaces were in there, and in November when I met with Kevin Mills and the parking manager for DDC, I said, actually, the space belongs to the charity. It's not sensible to just drop in spaces without getting the agreement of the charity, hence it's on the agenda for tonight. They are clear that they are going to increase the number of spaces in the car park, and in terms of how the lease is constructed, it really doesn't matter where the spaces are, because the income is for the whole car park and is then shared out between DDC and STBF. So if we were to be particularly adamant that we didn't want any spaces for disabled parking in the section that we own, the cost reduction, so the reduction in the income would still be the same for us. It's just worth knowing that in terms of context. So could I open up for any comments on the matters that are included in the reports?
Oh yes, it's STBF, isn't it? I think we should extend the lease. I think that's quite important for the 14 months, because obviously all of us in this room know about the local government reorganisation, LGR. So obviously that seems like a profound statement that we should go ahead with that, and can't see anybody talking about that. Tonight when I came in, I walked through the car park. I parked over the back near the WI building, and I walked through the car park. And once again, the disabled space in the car park, there was only one disabled car there, or one car belonged to somebody with the disability badge, and the other 3 were empty. I was also here at the weekend, and it was a similar situation. So I'm just wondering what the basis of the extra disabled spaces has been based upon, because it's quite often the case. The only time I ever know the disabled spaces to be full was on Sunday, when the United Reformed Church had a particular carol service, and I did see the spaces were all full up then. But it'd be nice to know why Dover District Council thinks that we need these extra spaces. Thank you.
Thank you. We are being asked by the property manager to consider deferring that decision. So it's a relevant point, and actually in terms of exchanges that we had with the political representative who is responsible for parking within her portfolio, the portfolio member, she has given an explanation. Whether it's accepted or not, I'm happy for this to be shared after this meeting. So there is an explanation to justify it isn't a mathematical arrival, which you might have thought be the case. There isn't a statistical calculation for the number of spaces, but there is an explanation, so I can get that shared afterwards.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. When we sold the land off to the doctor's surgery, I believe we lost 18 car spaces there. And if you look at it now, there's still a massive great space in front of the surgery. I did say to the building property manager, is it possible that we could get, I know you can't move all the payment machines around there, but whether we could have a redesign of our car parks, and perhaps if we can redesign it, we could perhaps include perhaps 2 disabled spots near the doctors, because at the moment it's just a waste of space there, isn't it, really? And I think they could be shuttled around. I mean, the roadway, perhaps we should go for chevron parking, at an angle, rather than nose in, because I think we get more cars in on an angle park, in and out parking. I think it needs a redesign, and I can't see how they're going to get more spaces, because vehicles are getting bigger, and you've only got to go and see some of the vehicles, they're just about getting a slot, so I don't know how they get out the door. So up to me, I mean, you go to somebody's supermarket, they're all redesigning their spaces, aren't they? And the spaces are a lot bigger now, so I can't see how they can increase the spaces.
I'll come back on those.
Yeah.
Any other comments? So I would say, in terms of the, sorry,
I would definitely support an extension of the lease. Because they're really coming out. Everyone else will
Yeah,
agree.
we'll take that to a note in a minute then, okay. On the disabled spaces, sorry, I'll just come
Oh,
back.
sorry.
The justification from DDC is to address the issue about cars incorrectly parking on the double yellow lines. So the placing of them where it's within the STBF part of the capital market is to address that issue. And they did say that it isn't a calculation that's based, as I said earlier, on a formula to use, but they are clear that there is a need for those additional bays, because I did flag up with them directly that many times they are not being used to the maximum, so they are aware of that. And just back to your point, Councillor Franklin, in terms of redesign, the lease as it stands, actually the responsibility for the design and layout sits with DDC. Now, when we renegotiate the current contract or alternatively look elsewhere, then we would have an opportunity. But rolling over the contract we've got at the moment, the responsibility is firmly with DDC, not with STBF.
Yeah, because you look at the car park line, it's all worn out, isn't it? Lots of places.
Yeah.
So it will be doing in a couple of years' time anyway, so we'll be discussing this.
Councillor Morehouse.
So yeah, in an ideal world, I'd be supporting Councillor Franklin, look at an aspect of landscaping, because it's not the most edifying car parks. The other point I'd like to make is that on the double yellow lines, that's all very well if the enforcement takes place. If the enforcement doesn't take place, it's pointless.
Very true.
Exactly.
Very true.
Is any consideration being given to the installation of points for electric cars?
And they've got spaces already up there.
There are
How do you
spaces.
use?
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to recollect whether there's additional within the plan. It's obviously there is.
I don't think there was.
No, it's not. So you joined the meeting. Yeah, there's no additional space that's been put in. There's some already in the car park next to the disabled parking.
Just as a point with regard to electric car recharging, we have more in Canterbury, accounted Canterbury. They've just got nothing there, realistically. You've got, there's about 2 in the main car park by the Dame John. And then it's literally every so often you might have 2, whereas we've got, I think, 2 here. Then we've got Gas and Salts, we've got Eugene, and we've got on the High Street, New Street, High Street. We have literally more than Canterbury.
Okay, so we can
And
start.
that's remarkable considering they just designed the car park at Longport.
Interesting. Maybe for final comment?
One last comment is, of course, that those with the blue badge holders have the ability to park on double yellow lines. So
No, not in that particular space. They can't outside the surgery.
has it got the curbside markings?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
okay.
for the ambulances.
Yes,
Beg your
it's for
pardon.
ambulances and urgent deliveries.
Beg your pardon, thank you.
Very final comment.
My concern is not just for this 14 months, but after that. It seems a bit surprising that DDC are quite happy to take it out of our land, bearing in mind that they know perfectly well that we may well want to take that land back, and no revenue loss will be incurred by them on the remaining land. Was there any discussion about sharing the disabled spaces, and the ones they have 2, we have 2? Because wearing my STBF finance hat, it does seem that we're going to be the people who will lose revenue. DDC will not lose any revenue. Now, perhaps I'm being a state registered cynic, but
They will lose revenue as the current contract stands.
for the present, I'm concerned about after the 14 months. That's a permanent loss of revenue unless we do something different. So why not share the pain?
And then it gets back to the point of their argument is about the location of the spaces vis-a-vis the double yellow lines. So that's why they put them there. It has been challenged. I've got it in writing, which I'll share with councillors, with the trustee, and then we can let the property manager do what he needs to do, and then we'll have a further conversation about it. So what we're being asked to do tonight is a decision to postpone that in terms of until the lease is commenced, if that's what we vote for. Alternatively, we can accept the creation of 4 spaces. So we've got 2 choices, and we'll see how that vote goes.
I think, thank you, Chair. I think the blue badge holders can park in the normal bays. The only thing is, these disabled bays are wider, so you get people with wheelchairs, and I think that's the advantage of it. So the blue badge holders are going to park wherever they like, wherever they can. But I think it's important to have dedicated spaces, the wider spaces for invalids.
Okay, thank you. Could I ask that we go to a vote on the lease extension, and what the recommendation from the property manager was to support the recommendation, current lease to extend the period of 14 months. Is somebody happy to propose that? Councillor Black, somebody second? Councillor Gray, we go to the vote on that. That's 1 abstention. That's 3. Okay. On the disabled base, we've got 2 proposals to choose between. One is that we agree that decision is postponed until after the commencement of the lease extension, to provide sufficient time for DDC to supply further information and for us to raise any further questions. Secondly, to accept the creation of 4 spaces, subject to not losing more than 6 of the current spaces. Is somebody happy to jump in with a proposal?
Or refuse
option?
Yeah.
Or refuse to have any, but Councillor Morehouse is proposing that we agree the decision is postponed. Second, Councillor Carter, please support that. Can we go to a vote on that, see if we accept that? I'll accept that as well, so that's 2 abstentions. Okay. Alright. On the agenda. Thank you very much. Okay, that's the final item, bar the next meeting of the STBF. Do you have the date in front of you? I can't find that.
16th of March.
16th of March. Thank you. I said that without lifting the lips. So the next meeting of this, the trustee, is the 16th of March 2026. Meeting closed.